Thanks for joining us on a Wednesday edition of the Bruce Hooley Show. Glad to have you along here on 989 The Answer. And we have local and national issues to talk about today. Columbus City schools, the further proof that there is no justice in the Franklin County Common Pleas court system. And, of course, the big interview on Thursday night. Yes, Kamala Harris has come out of the desert. The Israelites spent 40 years there. Jesus spent 40 days there. Kamala has kept us starving for a drink from the bountiful fountain of her wisdom in her mind for 40 days. She buried the Pelosi-Obama Ginsu knife collection between the shoulder blades of Joe Biden. Our long national nightmare will end Thursday night at 9 p.m. on CNN, when Kamala Harris will sit for kind of her first interview. Solo, live, no. And no. Won't be solo, won't be live. She's bringing her emotional support monkey with her. You know him. You know the monkey. Timmy from Minnesota. Yes, she's bringing Tim Walz with her from Minnesota. And she will sit with Dana Bash of CNN, who moderated the first debate. I'm surprised a little bit that the Democrats allowed Dana Bash to be a part of this debate, since in the last one, she unwittingly and probably unintentionally helped bury the Ginsu knife collection from the Pelosi-Obama steakhouse between the shoulder blades of Joe Biden. But Dana Bash will, in fact, be there asking all the tough questions, right? I'm sure, right? What role did you play, Kamala, in getting Joe off the ticket? All the things you said over the past 3 years about Joe Biden being sharp as a tack, gotten more done in an hour than anybody else, staff couldn't keep up with him, all of that. How do you explain the Biden we saw on June the 27th and the Biden that we don't see anymore? He's on vacation perpetually while the world is blowing up. How do you explain that? I'm sure that'll be asked. Aren't you sure that'll be asked? Flip-flops on fracking, flip-flops on illegal aliens and destroying the migrant shelters on day one. And speaking of day one, like all these things you say you're going to do on day one, why didn't you do them on day one? Because day one was like in 2021. I'm sure Dana Bash will come out with that. And, Tim Walz, while he sits there, I'm sure we'll have to answer for his stolen valor assertions. The fact that he let people portray him as a command sergeant major for decades when he wasn't. The fact that he said he carried weapons of war in war and he didn't. The fact that he has certainly allowed people to say that he led a Minnesota high school to a state football championship when in fact he was not the head coach or even a coordinator, but he was a volunteer assistant linebackers coach. Here's a question. All you Buckeye football fans looking forward to Saturday's opener against Akron. Who is the volunteer assistant linebackers coach on the Ohio State football team? No, it's not James Laurinaitis. Nope. He's a full-time member of the staff. Who's the Tim Walz on the staff? You don't know, do you? But you know a lot about Buckeye football. How would you feel if James Laurinaitis was like, hey, I let us do. He wouldn't do that because I know James. James is not that kind of guy. But Tim Walz is that kind of guy. Will that be brought up? Nope, won't be brought up. You know it won't be. IVF or the other procedure, intrauterine, whatever, insemination. Anybody out there struggle to have children, go through procedures? Are you unclear on what procedure finally worked for you and which ones didn't work for you? No, you're not. But Tim Walz is, because to him it's all under the same umbrella, and he speaks like a general person. After all, he wears flannel shirts and he's got hay in his teeth and he drives a tractor in Minnesota, right? All that, I'm sure, Dana Bash we'll get to on Thursday night. And if she does, and if they flub it, like, you won't see it. You know why? Because the interview will be taped. It won't be live. Boy, nothing says I'm so sure of myself and my positions and my ability to answer questions from the press than bringing along your emotional support monkey and having the interview taped. That's a confident candidate. You better believe it. So that's Thursday night. Set your clock by. Now, as for last night's meeting of the Columbus City School Board of Education, guess what? The decision that they have been pondering on which buildings to close has not been made yet and won't be made for quite some time, because apparently they just haven't spent enough money yet on trying to determine how many of their outdated buildings. They like spending money to upkeep their outdated buildings, and the ones that are closed, they spend, what is it, $600 and some thousand a year, because, you know, if they have to actually sell those buildings, they have to offer them to a charter school, and the charter school might set up in that neighborhood and might start doing the unthinkable, educating kids. So they can't do that. So they got to keep those buildings maintained that are already shut, and they have to try to figure out which ones to shut. And one of the things they're going to do to try to figure out which ones they may shut, even though they have been pondering this for the better part of a year, is they're going to contact national experts for advice. Now, what are the chances that those national experts that they bring in, consultants, which is the greatest gig in any kind of business, is to be a consultant, which is you're paid for your opinion and you're never accountable for your opinion that people act on. What are the chances that they're going to contact national experts for advice and not have to pay for that advice? Zero. That's the chance. Oh, but the board president, Christina Vera, says that they will begin updating the community during every other meeting. Wouldn't that be something that you should have already been doing? Updating the community? Been a lot of complaints about how you haven't been transparent with the community. Okay, so we're going to start updating the community, because, you know, you actually have kids in the system, and we're here on the Board of Education, and we're here because we tell everybody when we run for office that we're here because we care about kids. So I guess we have to start showing it, even though we really don't want to. They are considering closing 6 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, and a high school in a district that has declined from, what was it, like, I forget how many students, but now it's down to 40,000. It's been a precipitous drop. I think a 40% drop in enrollment. They have 112 buildings. They originally, last May, said they would close up to 20 buildings. Ooh, that really set off alarm bells. And so now they're going to, I love this, begin touring each of the 9 facilities recommended for closure from late September to early October. Begin? Hell, like, what have you been doing? Begin touring? Like, wouldn't the first thing I would insist on if I'm on a board, and I am on a board of education, we're thinking of closing a building. Well, let's go out there and let's look around. Let's go out there and let's talk to the people who live there. Let's see how it's going to impact them. Let's see how it's going to impact their students. Nah, Columbus Board of Education. No time. No time for that. No, none. But rest assured, Christina Vera says this next step will require a multifaceted approach. One that the Columbus Board of Education is committed to, but it will take time because, of course, they haven't spent enough time on it so far. What of Brandon Simmons, the guy who tried to come up with a strategy, maybe a flawed strategy, but at least he has a plan. He's a young, ambitious kid. He's on the school board. You elected him. Now you're dealing with him. He says, after a press conference of his own last night, the chutzpah of this young man is something to behold. He had a press conference the other day, and the board's like, he doesn't speak for us. And of course he doesn't. No individual board member does. But he's at least answering questions. That's something other board members aren't doing. Maybe that'll make him popular enough to keep getting elected to the board. Maybe he'll be the sand in the oyster. Or something else in a punch bowl. Who knows? Maybe that's what the board needs. Maybe that's what the system needs. I think it does. Brandon Simmons says, what do I have to lose for advocating for our district? I understand the position I'm in. I understand I'm at political rock bottom. I'm not stupid to that, but I care about this district. Well, see, there you go, Brandon. You've disqualified yourself for serving on the Columbus Board of Education or as an officer in any teachers union anywhere because you spoke the words that you can't really say or hold true or certainly act upon. I care about this district. Oh, you can say them, but they have to be empty. Like when, the head of the Columbus Education Association says them or other people say them. You can't mean them. You can't really mean them. You can't expect the other people to act on them. Of course not. Now, speaking of Columbus City Schools, and we just were, the people who care about the kids, they have declared transportation impractical for a group of about 60 students who attend what? One of the schools they're going to close? No. One of the schools they'd like to close. A charter school. In fact, a couple charter schools under the umbrella of, was it Union Charter Schools? Charter schools are achieving much higher academic results. United Schools Network is who it is. They are achieving much higher results than Columbus City schools are, which of course makes them objectionable to Columbus City schools. We'll give you the details on that next on the Bruce Hooley Show.
Hot Friday, passing shower to
Where did all my audio go? This is crazy.
On 98.9 FM, The Answer. Hi, it's Bruce Hooley, and I am
Where in the hell is Victorious living?
Through my work here at The Answer since my brain cancer diagnosis about 1 year ago. One of those friends, Dr. Brandon Schreiner of Revive Chiropractic in Lewis Center, has worked with me on some projects before my diagnosis, and since then, he and the specialists at Revive have helped me recover from surgery and treatment with little to no side effects. By getting my neck and spine back into alignment at Revive.
Oh, it is frustrating when you spend all morning cutting audio and it ends up in somebody else's file because they didn't put the file back where it was supposed to be when they finished up in the studio.
Contact Revive during their new patient special. Mention my name and you'll pay just $65 for a consultation with the doctors, an exam, your first treatment, and x-rays if needed. Let Dr. B and the team at Revive do for you what they've done for me. Find them online at revivechiro.com. That's revivechiro.com, or call 614-781-8808, revivechiro.com, or 614-781-8808.
Planning for retirement is no small task. If you don't know where to start, join Rodney Peters of Peters Wealth Group every Saturday at 10 and 2 for Retire Ready Ohio. Rodney shares helpful tips and strategies that just might change the course of your retirement. Listen every Saturday at 10 and 2 to Retire Ready Ohio with Rodney Peters of Peters Wealth Group. The firm offers insurance services. Investment advisory services are offered through Peters Wealth Group, a state-registered investment advisor.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at tra.com or call 800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Hi, Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. When you use Angie for your home projects, you know all your jobs will be done well. Roof repair? Done well. Kitchen sink install? Done well. Deck upgrades? Done well. Electrical upgrade? Done well. Angie's been connecting homeowners with skilled pros for nearly 30 years, so we know the difference between done and done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
Your home is a big investment. If you live in a condominium or homeowners association, decisions by your board and community manager affect you. Is your board knowledgeable? Is your manager trained? Is your investment protected? CAI, Community Associations Institute, can give you the tools to protect your home and community. CAI is a nonprofit organization with resources for your board, community managers, and free information for homeowners like you. CAI at responsiblecommunities.com.
Well, I'm headed out to Canal Winchester today to measure a home for new flooring. You knew that's where I was headed and why I was headed there. And boy, I have been fortunate that many of you have reacted to my offer here on the Bruce Hooley Show to help you with carpet or luxury vinyl plank flooring in your home. All you need to do is go to brucehooley.com, excuse me, and click on flooring, which is a tab in the upper right-hand corner of the page. I haven't seen this home, but I hear it's a farmhouse and it's ready to go on the market. If you are sprucing up your home to put it on the market and sell, or if you've just bought a home and you're moving in and, ooh, that flooring is nasty, I need to replace it. Or if you want to live in your home for a while and enjoy the new flooring rather than outfit it for someone else who might buy it in 5 or 10 years, now is the time to do that. Go to brucehooley.com, click flooring in the upper right-hand corner of the page, brucehooley.com, flooring tab, upper right-hand corner of the page. It was a few months ago here on the Bruce Hooley Show that I shared a national story about a charter school in Columbus, Ohio, a college preparatory academy that was doing remarkable things academically with kids from underprivileged neighborhoods in Columbus. A tuition-free charter school, not a private school. So this is not one of those endeavors that's, according to the teachers union, sucking money out of the public school system, which EdChoice does not suck a single dollar away from public schools. But that's a lie that they tell you because, you know, teachers unions are overwhelmingly Democrat, and when they open their mouth, lies just seem to come out. But this college preparatory academy was getting laudatory comments because it had the revolutionary idea that if you require students to do work, if you ingrain discipline and don't put up with nonsense, and if you raise expectations and refuse to compromise, the end result will be high achieving students, those who recognize their goals, those who love to learn. And that is exactly what has happened. Now, we have several of those schools under the mantle of the United Schools Network here in Columbus, Ohio. Its flagship middle school, Columbus Collegiate Academy, is on Main Street. It opened in the fall of 2008 on the Near East Side with 57 sixth graders. And it opened its second middle school, Columbus Collegiate Academy, on Dana Avenue in Franklinton in 2012. Do you notice where they're locating these schools? Not in Dublin, New Albany, Upper Arlington, or even Hilliard, suburbs where, you know, there's more wealth than there is certainly in Franklinton, or out on Main Street. And they have since opened others. They have since earned lots of grants from organizations like the Columbus Foundation. You know, here's a quote from the executive vice president at the time of the Columbus Foundation. Too many of our urban schools are underperforming. What? You have not talked to the people at Columbus City Schools, apparently. In response to this challenge, the foundation has taken a portfolio approach to investing in education. And the United Schools Network was the recipient of that grant. It was what I think, $800,000 from the Walton Family Foundation, $375,000 from the Columbus Foundation. And the head of the Columbus Foundation said, the United Schools Network has programs we are proud to support. They have excelled in educating children who are disadvantaged. They have built a set of schools that outperforms local district schools. Ouch. Through their dedicated teachers' commitment to academics and innovative culture, they're helping to shape the leaders of tomorrow. Okay, so why am I bringing this back up again? Because the Columbus City Schools is legally obligated, to transport these students to school. And now last night they say, we can't do it anymore. It's impractical for us to get these kids, transport these kids to school. Now, I'm familiar with this issue because my daughter attends a private school that is far beyond the district in which we live. That's pandemic related. School's fine. School's great, in fact. And I would be happy if she wanted to go back. She doesn't want to be the new kid a second time. Took her out of the schools because of the pandemic, didn't want her masked. And now it's just, she's been at this school so long, she doesn't want to be the new kid again. And I, as her father, I'm not going to force her to be. But I'm fortunate. And people out where I live are very fortunate. We have great schools. If you live in the city of Columbus, if you live in Franklinton, if you live on the Main Street near East Side, Linden, you're not fortunate like that. You're fortunate if you can get your kid into a tuition-free charter school with people who care about them like the people do at the United Schools Network. But the Columbus City Schools last night said, nah, we can't transport these kids anymore. It's too impractical. So they'll have to cut them a check. But of course, the transportation check that you get, it's a couple $100, doesn't begin to cover the cost of the transportation. What are you gonna call an Uber every day? Put a little kid on a city bus? No, of course not. Can't do that. Here is the head of the United Schools Network, Andy Boy, the founder and CEO. He says for the board to wait until 2 weeks before a school started to notify the parents of this is just unacceptable. Yep, not accidental, but unacceptable, of course. That's my words, not Andy's. He says, it is a betrayal of what they, meaning the Board of Education in Columbus, are supposed to be doing, and our families are the ones that are going to lose. Yeah, that's the idea, Andy. That's the idea. They want to force you back into Columbus City schools. They want to force you back into underperforming schools. They want to force you back into a place where the environment has no discipline, has no expectations, makes no demands of kids. That's exactly the point. That is why they're doing it. It's not impractical. It's inconvenient for them. That is why they're doing it. Just so we're clear on that. Now, before we end this segment, let's play a little game, shall we? Let's play Guess the Sentence. 2 cases. One of them you know well. Nala Jackson, 26, stole the car with the 2 twin boys in the back. Took one to the Dayton airport, one to Indianapolis. Both were found safe. A couple of months later, one of them tragically died. She was in court yesterday, pleaded guilty to kidnapping 2 twin 5-month-old boys from Columbus in December of 2022. How many years do you think she got in prison? I'm actually surprised. She got 23 years. I find that to be a very fair sentence. She did a heinous thing. She put the mother of these children through unspeakable grief and anguish. And I don't know, the coroner, I mean, how do we know if the one boy died a couple of months later? Who knows? Because of the trauma he had? Don't know. Here's the other case. Let's play Guess the Sentence. A former behavioral therapist at a Dublin facility named Mackenzie Sokol. She's 34 years old. 34 years old. She's a therapist, okay? Therapist. 34-year-old therapist. She was counseling a 12-year-old boy with disabilities. And Mackenzie was strangely and creepily attracted to the boy. And she began sending him messages on the Facebook Messenger app in April of 2023, including exchanging explicit photographs and discussing meeting to have sex on 3 occasions. 34-year-old therapist, 12-year-old boy. She was in court yesterday. And the judge, Franklin County Common Pleas Court Judge Mark Surratt, was in charge of her sentence. I'll let you ponder what you think she got, and I'll tell you when we return.
News, I'm Rich Thomason. Kamala Harris will finally grant an interview. Going to be going solo. Running mate Tim Walz will be there with Harris on the CNN set. Last word, it was an issue involving the microphones, whether to be muted or not, has yet to be ironed out in the plans for a Trump-Harris debate. Special counsel Jack Smith bringing a superseding indictment against former President Trump. This has to do with the 2020 election interference case. Mr. Trump calls the new indictment a sign of desperation. Israel says the 10 Palestinians killed in the West Bank and raids in the West Bank were terrorists. It also says the military operation was aimed at protecting Israeli civilians. On Wall Street this morning, stocks have turned negative once again. The Dow is down 45 points. The NASDAQ is off 237 points. More details at srnnews.com. Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee we take you as a client. We'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-838-8822. That's 800-838-8822. 800-838-80.
News, opinion, passion. Here, 98.9 FM. The Answer, anywhere you go. With The Answer's mobile app at 989theanswer.com. Also on your smart speakers. Tune in or iHeart.
Well, summer is upon us and the weather is beautiful. Everyone has a favorite outdoor activity. Golf, ice hockey, bird watching, long walks. Ask 100 people and you'll get 100 answers. But if everyday aches and pains are keeping you on the sidelines, I have one answer: Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients. It doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. Wherever you're hurting, back, neck, joints or muscles, in 3 weeks or less, you'll start to feel the difference all day, every day. So whatever you like to do, swimming, pickleball, hanging out in the garden, Relief Factor can help you feel good again and let you enjoy all your favorite outdoor activities all summer long. ReliefFactor.com, 1-800-4RELIEF, 1-800-473-5433. Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor.
This is Josh Pick with the Actress Blueprint Radio Show. The thing that I hear most often in meetings is, what do I do when it seems like stocks and bonds are getting crushed? Rates at the bank are abysmal, and inflation is at 40-year highs. Well, you're not alone, and there are better options. Did you know that you can lock in darn near double-digit returns in a positive market while simultaneously accepting zero downside risk? Learn more about ideas like this and many other ways to improve your financial situation by listening to the Aptus Retirement Blueprint Radio Show Friday evenings at 6, Saturday afternoons at noon, or call our office today at 614-917-1040.
Hi, it's Bruce Hooley, and I hope you'll join me every day, 11 to 1, for the Bruce Hooley Show. A lot of consequential issues that we have to talk about. It's a transformational time in our country, and you want to understand all the issues. That's what I hopefully help you do. Bruce Hooley Show, 11 to 1, Monday through Friday on 989theanswer.com.
PatriotSwitch.com products are a little different than the products that you see on your store shelves. Oh, you'll see, let's say, a dishwashing liquid, Dawn or Joy, and you'll think, I wonder how Joy stays in business if Dawn takes away market share. What you don't know is you don't really have to worry about it because both are made by the same company, Unilever or Procter & Gamble. You think you have choices, you really don't. There are a couple big companies, 11 of them in the U.S., that stock 95% of their products on store shelves, and they're filled with toxins and all kinds of things that are bad for you and bad for our environment. PatriotSwitch.com products are different. They're made by one manufacturer, a family-owned company. They don't outsource anything. They make everything they sell, 450 plus products, all of which you're already buying. Are you buying coffee? Are you buying laundry detergent? Are you buying dishwasher soap? Are you buying cleaning products for your countertops and toilet bowls? Are you buying mouthwash, toothpaste, dental floss, Band-Aids? PatriotSwitch.com products, a better way to shop and strike a blow against woke capitalism. Leave me your information. I'll reach out and tell you more about PatriotSwitch.com/Bruce. That's PatriotSwitch.com/Bruce. So we have another judge auditioning for the worst judge in Franklin County. It's a crowded field. And we have, of course, Michael Holbrook, the judge who let out Devon Blair, who had spent time in prison for domestic violence and who had already visited unspeakable domestic violence upon his girlfriend, Brooke Deviney. He held a knife to her stomach. He forced her in the middle of winter to disrobe and run into the street. He grabbed her by the hair. He threatened to kill her. And Michael Holbrook let him out on his own recognizance. And then, shortly thereafter, a couple of months, Devon Blair proved he wasn't lying because he broke into her apartment and he killed her. So Michael Holbrook is the first contender. Then we have George Leach, who used his official Franklin County Common Pleas Court or Juvenile Court email to email heroes of Pride Month profiles, not of people in the judicial profession that might, ostensibly inspire people who worked at the Justice Center, but profiles on actors and actresses and things like that, whose only discernible distinguishing characteristic was that they were gay, and it was June and it was Pride Month. And so George Leach wanted to spread the pride, and he used his official Franklin County email to send out biographies on those who, in his mind, glorify the joy of being part of the LGBTQ movement. Never mind the fact that a lot of people in the Justice Center were appalled by this and didn't think he was using his email for, work purposes, but for personal preference. So George Leach, contender number 2. And now, ladies and gentlemen, stepping into the boxing ring to show you that he, in fact, might be the worst judge in Franklin County is Judge Mark Surratt. Serrott, if you care to remember it, if and when he runs for re-election. He was sitting in judgment of 34-year-old Mackenzie Sokol of Fairfield County. What was her job? She was a behavioral therapist at a Dublin facility where they were counseling young people, children with disabilities, including a 12-year-old boy. And Mackenzie took a personal interest. She is 34, in the 12-year-old boy. And she began sending him messages on Facebook Messenger in April of last year, which included exchanging explicit photographs and discussing meeting to having sex on at least 3 occasions. Dublin police gave the information to Columbus's exploited children's unit, and they indeed did find on this young boy's phone evidence that Mackenzie Sokol committed a serious, serious crime. Now, what did she receive? Let's play Guess the Sentence. Okay, so you got a 34-year-old female therapist, a predator preying upon a 12-year-old boy with disabilities, sending him naked photographs of herself, trying to talk him into having sex with her 3 different times. Does she have to register as a sex offender? What do you think? Well, the mere fact that I'm asking you the question means, of course, the answer is no. She does not have to register as a sex offender. Will she do how many months in jail, do you think? 3? 1 for each offer of sex? 6 months? Maybe 2 months? Or maybe years? What would you sentence her to? Mark Surratt, the judge, sentenced her to 3 years of probation. 3 years of probation. And she will have to pay a $500 fine when she goes back before Judge Surratt in February for a status report on her counseling. That is right, to review, class. A 34-year-old woman tried to talk a 12-year-old boy with disabilities into having sex with her, traumatized him, abused him by sending him naked photographs of herself. She's obviously got a mental illness. She's obviously got a screw loose. All the Democrats would say, oh, you love who you love. It's not pedophilia. She's just a minor attracted person. She's a map, not a pervert. And so 3 years of probation, that ought to do it. Yeah, now she does not have to register as a sex offender because she pleaded guilty to endangering children, which is a 3rd-degree felony, but it does not require her to register as a sex offender. So, you know what this means. Of course, you know what this means. She will be able to go out and get another job at another place that doesn't do the research on her background, because there will be no background on her that will be traceable after a certain amount of time. And she'll end up counseling little kids again and getting a second chance, getting a mulligan to do this all over again and maybe complete what she tried to do with this 12-year-old boy. Judge Mark Surratt, ladies and gentlemen. I think I think he's got George Leach beaten. Got a ways to go, though, to defeat Michael Holbrook, whose ineptitude, of course, led to the death of not just one person, but two, because Brooke Deviney was pregnant at the time that Devon Blair quite likely murdered her. Now we have new information, and it is, it's just, this story is just so tragic all the way around. First and foremost, the family of Lieutenant Rodney Osborne, who was a training officer at an Ohio prison facility, an instructor who was shot to death a couple of months ago in an incident that we have not had a whole bunch of detail on. It happened at the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Correction Training in Pickaway County. We heard that morning that there had been an accident, there had been a shooting of some sort during a training exercise, and very, very tragically, Lieutenant Osborne, who everyone spoke glowingly about, died. Yesterday, the Osborne family's attorney released the State Patrol report of the incident. And what happened is, it sounds a little bit similar to what happened in the Alec Baldwin Rush shooting. And there's a reason why anyone who has ever purchased or used a firearm is told never to point it at another person unless you intend to do serious physical harm to that person. Never. Because that is unfortunately what happened. A person by the name of David Pearson, who was the lead instructor of the class, stopped the class in what was supposed to be a dry fire exercise, meaning there's no live ammunition in the chamber of any gun that anyone is using. And in fact, the other people taking the class were, prior to this very tragic shooting, told to check their own weapon, and then were told to check the person's weapon next to them just to make sure that nothing like what was about to happen could in fact happen. Because of course you can't shoot someone if there's no live ammunition in the chamber of a handgun, but you should not even take the risk by pointing it. But very, very tragically, Mr. Pearson did that. He saw something when Mr. Osborne was demonstrating a technique, and he went to correct it and demonstrate it to Rodney Osborne. And upon doing so, Mr. Pearson clearly failed to have cleared the chamber in his weapon. And when he drew, he pointed the weapon at Osborne, and he squeezed the trigger, and he shot him just above the protective vest that Lieutenant Osborne was wearing, right above the neckline. And Mr. Osborne died as a result of that shooting. 43-year-old husband and father. And now Mr. Pearson is charged on a single count of negligent homicide. He faces 180 days in jail and a $1,000 fine. I don't know what the right sentence is here, because he clearly did not intend to harm his friend. But he did. And he took his life. And he took his life because he didn't follow his training. And it's just it's a horrible, horrible, horrible circumstance all the way around. And I feel for both families. I really do. The State Patrol report does not show why Mr. Pearson did not clear his gun. I would think he would have. He clearly thought he did. And the fact that he did not is why this is something we're still talking about. What? spent an hour cutting audio and I can't find it.
We get up to 100% of our tuition paid for at state colleges, so we can have an even better future. We are proud to serve both our through every storm, every flood, every emergency that hits home here in Ohio. We are ready to respond and help our fellow Ohioans recover. We are every city, every small town, and every community. We are your Ohio Army National Guard. Learn more about part-time service with the Ohio Army National Guard at nationalguard.com/OH. Sponsored by the Ohio Army National Guard, aired by the Ohio Association of Broadcasters and this station.
My sister Katie and I love to shop. Well, mostly window shop. She means we're thorough. She means we're bargain hunters. Exactly. But my sister Kelly showed me an article that made me change a really bad habit, just wanting us to do what's right. You see, at one time, I just couldn't stay away from those bargain knockoffs. You know, the handbags and scarves sold on the street. Counterfeit merchandise. Ooh, you make it sound so illegal. Well, it is stealing. Ouch. I wouldn't steal. I didn't realize that this sort of stealing can lead to more Americans losing their jobs. So, no more buying fakes and knockoffs, right? Right. Just honest bargain hunting. Now you're talking.
Remember, counterfeits hurt, but you have the power to stop them. To learn more, go to www.ncpc.org/getreal. That's ncpc.org/getreal. Brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council and the Bureau of Justice Assistance, U.S. Department of Justice.
Okay, you're always asking me about our next station event. Well, here it is. It will be Tuesday evening, October the 22nd at Genoa Church in Westerville. We're calling it the Battleground Talkers Tour. Now, Columbus is one of, I think, 7 cities nationwide that gets one of these tours. And what it will feature are some of your favorite conservative talk show hosts live on stage. I don't know if I'm one of those, but I'll be there. So will Mike Gallagher, Larry Elder, our own Jack Windsor, and Hugh Hewitt as well, along with some very special guests, most likely political candidates. And this, of course, will be an effort for you to coalesce with other people who believe like you do, hopefully build momentum, and hopefully inspire you to go out and talk to people in your neighborhoods or in your circle of influence about who to vote for and why you're voting for them. General admission tickets are $5, available at 989theanswer.com. VIP meet and greet with the hosts is available before the event. A VIP ticket, if you'd like $25 off, use the code Bruce25 at checkout. That's Bruce25 at checkout. You didn't even tell me where to check out at 989theanswer.com. Rally with us on Tuesday, October the 22nd at Genoa Church in Westerville, the Battleground Talkers Tour. 989theanswer.com. Use the promo code Bruce25. So we finally have Kamala Harris following through on her word. It was like 3 weeks ago where she said she will try to schedule with her staff an interview before the end of the month. And that will happen tomorrow night, August the 29th. Kamala Harris will sit down with CNN's Dana Bash for an interview. I don't know if it'll be a shoe shine. I don't know if it will be hard hitting. I doubt it, because Dana Bash's political leanings have been well demonstrated before. I think she did a pretty good job of hiding them in the first debate with Donald Trump and Joe Biden, but Biden was so bad that night, I don't think that any amount of Dana Bash trying to max protect would have made any difference. But Kamala Harris will not do this interview alone. Kamala Harris will do this interview with her emotional support monkey, Tim Walz, sitting next to her. And the interview will not air live on CNN. It will be taped, which I know what you're thinking. Shame on you. Shame on me, because I'm thinking it too. That if she makes any big gaffe in the interview, they will take it out and you will never see it. And that is, of course, what you should think. That is, of course, how a discerning person should look at this, because if Kamala Harris were confident in her positions, if the Democrats were confident in her ability to articulate her positions, then this interview would air live. But then again, if Kamala Harris were confident in her positions, and if Democrats were confident in her ability to articulate those positions, we wouldn't be starving coming out of the 40-day wilderness without any nourishment from the joy-filled, vibe-filled, brilliant brat mind of Kamala Harris. She would have done, in the aftermath of pushing Joe Biden off the cliff, she would have been out talking to every media member she could to get her positions out there. Oh, but she's just been so busy, we're told by her advisors. She's just so busy, this compressed campaign schedule. Well, whose fault is that? You could have pushed Joe Biden aside a year ago. You didn't do it. Now you don't get to plead, oh, yeah, we're stuck with the old guy. You were stuck with the old guy because you were defending the old guy. Because you kept telling us that nobody could keep up with the old guy, that he was brilliant, that he was cogent. Man, the nerve, the unmitigated gall that they have to ask for forgiveness for sins they've committed. Hey, give us a break, man. We thought Joe Biden was, we didn't think Joe Biden was going to be the candidate. Why did you think he was going to be? You see him every day. Kamala Harris had lunch with him every day or every week. Biden, there's a limit to what Biden can take. You can't take lunch with Kamala every day. That'd be against the Geneva Convention. Now, a lot of conservatives are mad about this, and I get why you're mad about it. But I have a little bit of a different perspective on this. I actually think this might be good. This might work to Donald Trump's advantage that Kamala Harris is doing this interview with Tim Walz. Why do I say that? Because the two of them together are a double dose of stupid and disgusting, okay? The two of them together. Have you ever been around, like, you're kind of friends with one person and a third person joins your group and the third person is much better friends with the other friend than you are, and they have their little inside jokes and they egg each other on, and the longer you're with them, they sort of like shut you out, and the more they shut you out, the more annoying it is to you and the more insufferable you find them both. Like, you know, it's like Fonzie used to say about ketchup and ice cream. Separate, okay. Together, whoa, thumbs down. Yeah. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz aren't even okay separate. But together, they are undigestible, like ketchup and ice cream. So I actually think this is going to be good, because let's say Harris were doing the interview solo. I know, I'm presuming she's competent enough to do it, and she's not, and they know she's not. That's why she's not done one for 40 days, and why they need the emotional support monkey, Timmy from Minnesota, to be beside her this Thursday night at 9 o'clock. But let's presume she was doing the interview solo. And let's presume that Dana Bash was able to get her to answer a question on, I don't know, why are you no longer for banning fracking? Why are you no longer for, you know, the Green New Deal? Why are you no longer for an EV mandate? Why are you no longer somebody who wants to take private health insurance away from every American who has it? And let's say Kamala does the Cruella DeVille laugh, which always is a tell as to how nervous she is. Or let's say she launches into a nonsensical word salad or whatever. Dana Bash probably would have a way with her eyes or with her head tilting or something like that to sort of kind of steer Kamala back on track. But with nutty creeper Tim Walz sitting next to her, the guy who wants to trans every kid in Minnesota, the guy who, and I'll articulate this in the next hour, is trying to make it impossible for any Christian teacher to teach in a Minnesota public school, with the guy who gave driver's licenses to illegal aliens and free tuition to illegal aliens sitting next to her. He will affirm her in whatever she says, however radical it is. And they will be a woke train run amok on CNN. Now, of course, you may not see it. There may be people there, you know, with shepherd's crooks, like banging them on the ground when they get off topic and cut. We got to go back. We got to start over. 3, 2, 1. Okay, now, Vice President Harris, you know, I believe all that is in play, but I also do believe it is possible that Kamala Harris may be more prone to veer into crazy land because Tim Walz is sitting next to her, because Tim Walz is the mayor, the governor of Crazy Town. This guy is a serial, unrepentant liar. He is a phony. He is a fraud. And so they're perfectly compatible, the two of them, because she is a serial liar, she is a phony, and she is a fraud, and she is a radical. Now, will Dana Bash ask any of the questions that I would ask? I doubt it. You know, I would like for Dana Bash to say, Governor Walz says that kids who want to have sexual reassignment surgery, if their parents don't support it, those kids should be taken away from the parents, and the parents should have no rights to raise their kids the way they want to. Do you agree with Governor Walz's position on that? Will that be the position of the Walz-Harris administration or the Harris-Walz administration? I want, in other words, Dana Bash to ask real questions, which of course is disqualified her from working at CNN.
Debt than any time in history, owing a staggering $1.3 trillion collectively. What happens when most people can't pay their bills? Well, the U.S. economy is clearly moving into uncertain territory. That's why more Christians are turning to gold just for their peace of mind. I'm Lance Wallner, Christian news analyst with a 30-year track record of predicting trends. The Bible tells us that gold is a time-tested store of value that can protect your God-given assets through almost anything, including America's historic debt bubble. And here's the good news. You can own gold through your 401k or IRA. My friends at Berkshire.
Aaron says those audio segments are in the P drive Victorious Living.
Yeah, I just found it. Thanks.
Info kit from Birch Gold is entirely free. Zero cost or obligation. Text that next step right now and take it. Text FAITH to the number 989898 for your free info kit. That's FAITH to 989898.
Find us at 9890theanswer.com. Download our apps. Stream us 24/7. WTOH and WTOH.
I apologize for eating on camera. Thanks for joining us. Hour number 2 will stream on the Bruce Hooley Show Facebook page and on the 989 The Answer Facebook page. Good audience today. Really appreciate you guys joining us. I hope you have a great day. I hope God draws you closer to him today. And I hope you make a positive impact on someone today. Thanks. Be well.